Good morning, good evening, wherever you are in the world. You're welcome back to the second half at the Aviva Stadium, where the hosts lead it by 2 points, 19 points to 17. And Darren Cave alongside me. And Darren, you feel that Japan will be in that changing room thinking, we've played a lot of the rugby, we've had our opportunities, and really if we keep going, we'll claw this one back to where it should be, and that is us leading and winning this game.
Both teams have played a lot of good rugby. Neither team has dealt with the kickoff well. That's been the key thing. A team's scored, they haven't dealt with the kickoff, and it's been end-to-end with pressure. And it's been a very, very even game. The one stat that sort of stands out, Ireland 14 missed tackled, more than twice as many as Japan. So that's the one thing I think Andy Farrell and Ireland will be looking to tidy up. And Japan, it's more of the same.
Well, the referee is ready to go. Peter O'Mahony, who we thought mightn't come back out for the second half. He took some serious treatment at the end of that first half, but there he is appearing. And Andy Farrell, I'm wondering what the message would be. As we said before half-time, a bit of the good, the bad and the ugly. The line-out, a real issue, and that's surprising. We expected Ireland's set-piece line-out, scrums in particular, to cause Japan problems, but they haven't.
Time on them, please.
3,000 spectators at the Aviva Stadium. The first time there have been spectators here for 16 months, and we're off and running again at the start of the second half. Ireland 19, Japan 17, and Peter O'Mahony athletically claims the ball, and Japan set about their defensive set again, and Stockdale and Ireland try to get away quickly. Caelan Doris just got caught between hanging on and throwing a pass, and what ended up happening was, well, not pretty.
Not sure if it was Doris or Tom Brady there, but no, it was great take from O'Mahony. Look at that, it was another good kick from Tamura, but just that's what both teams have been crying out for, and you see the play off that. Nice offload here, and Ireland with a half opportunity. Now as it happened, you could see what Doris was trying to do. Japan scrambled well. The wide receiver didn't collect it.
Crouch! Bind! Ready, set! Hold! Make sure we're 5.
Saito, and then Tamura, little dink again. He's done that so well,
Forward.
and Matsuyama almost
Then advantage!
profited
Forward.
it. But the inside half has been so
Hold
accurate
now.
with those little
Advantage
dinks, either
over.
in behind, crossfield to
Make
his
it longer.
wingers, whatever it might be. And again, Japan looked like they might unlock Ireland with that moment.
Yeah, and I've been really, really impressed with some of this Japanese play, and this is another example here. You can just see that they've left Masariwa on the right wing. He's stayed on the right-hand side of the pitch to try and manipulate that Irish backfield. They've played left, and it's a lovely kick again. It's a really smart play from Japan, quite unlucky.
Just great out half play as well, to be able to do that on the run, the accuracy with all that's going on around you, and he delivered it beautifully. Ireland go
Always
in
on the
search of
body.
the ball, but Saito has it, and Leach, and then in midfield is Nakamura.
You okay?
Saito,
13.
narrower side. Nakariwa, and there's an Irish player who's taken a
Time.
proper bang, and some concern for him. I think it's Chris Farrell. The referee shrill blasted the whistle. Peter O'Mahony was in immediately, and when you see players react on a pitch,
Your ball.
it tells you everything you need
Your
to know.
squad. Yeah.
And World Rugby have done a lot of work on trying to
Japan
reduce
win.
the tackle height, but unfortunately this is part of the game. Chris Farrell, you can see he goes in for the tackle, but there's just watch this late footwork. It's a right shoulder tackle, and it's just he's caught him. I think it might be an elbow or something there, but he's lining up Nakamura on his right shoulder, just a step off the left foot, and suddenly it's head on shoulder, and it's not nice to see. And nice to see the game getting stopped so it can be dealt with.
So if Japan scrums, they're in possession.
Well, Billy Burns is coming in, there's no question. And Chris Farrell will not be continuing in this game.
Your squad.
Ireland already with Shane Daly on the pitch in place of Jordan Larmour, who was withdrawn after about 25 minutes or so with what looked like a knee injury. We've had no confirmation of that just yet. Some of the Irish players not on Lions tour. In fact, Johnny Sexton
Okay.
in that group, and saw Jerry Flannery there, fresh from successive coaching last week with Harlequins. Good to see Chris Farrell sitting up.
it's the way the game is now. Unfortunately, players are so big, strong and powerful, and the footwork's so good. As you can see, actually technically wasn't bad play from Chris Farrell. He's got him lined up on the right shoulder, but just that last late minute change of direction, and agree, nice to see him. Very nice to see him sitting off, and Dixon, the referee, managed it very well. You could hear him straight away saying 13, are you okay? No response, stop the game, and nice to see him walking off the pitch.
I think for a moment Chris Farrell thought he might get back in the line, and the medical staff made it clear that wasn't an option.
As long as they're up, as long as the ball comes in, as long as they're up.
Unfortunately, happened to me a couple of times when I was playing. You're out of it for 10 or 15 seconds, but you don't know that at the time, so you're jogging back into position. Next thing, you're down the tunnel.
Well, it's officially a HIA replacement. Billy Burns in for Farrell, which means, of course, lots of change for the Irish three-quarter line. Burns has gone straight into out-half. Carbery moves to inside centre as he's currently lined up, but you think if he's going to stay there, it'll be more outside. We'll see him. And Japan will look to take advantage of that disruption in the Irish defence. And Matsushima, no better man to see if there's a gap to exploit, but he's put to ground, and around the corner goes Tamura, and the opportunity is still there, and Japan are in again. What a try! Fifita is the scorer, but that was again some magic, and Tamura the magician in the middle.
It's just unbelievable to watch. So original, so innovative. See it again, there was the wee kick. Looked like he was going up a blind alleyway. It was a 2v2, the pass wasn't on at all. There's only one way he could have made the score happen. Even the pick and go down the blind side, it was cheeky. And look at this wee kick. It's not even, it's 4v2, 2v4, sorry. Great finish.
Well, yes, the finish. But what about this? I mean, he really is world class.
It's absolutely outstanding play. I mean, we spoke about him at the top of the show. How good has he been? As I say, you know, for a fly half, the cheek even to be at the breakdown, to sneak down. You can see him pointing, and look at that bounce. It's inch perfect, and not for the first time today. An inch perfect kick from Japan, and in particular from Tamura, that has led to a try.
Well, people rightly in this part of the world marvel at the skill set that someone like Finn Russell brings to the game at 10, but there's nothing that Finn Russell is doing that this man isn't doing as well. And again, in that position with the chaos around you, to run the orchestra the way he is, it's been a pleasure to watch. 22 points to 19 now in Japan's favour. The conversion to come from that man Tamura. And he does the basics as well over the extra 2 go. Japan lead it by 24 points to 19. And that's a fair reflection of where we are after 45 minutes or so.
And you do wonder, I think part of this Japanese resurgence in the last few years has come from the strength of their league and the amount of players they have playing in that, but you do wonder how long it is before a big European club with a big checkbook comes knocking for the likes of Tamura.
And Ireland, well, they're going to face more and more of that, and with Burns and Daly on the pitch and Carbery now moved into the centre, it's all changed from what they would have been working on during the week. And sure, they prepare for all sorts of eventualities, but Carbery in the centre probably, well, we'll see.
No, don't touch it now.
Saito, Tamura,
Two!
and the safety of touch.
It's another really good kick, not an easy place to kick from.
Careful.
Sort of 25 metres in from touch, long way from the sideline, a couple of metres from your line. It's a great outcome. Yeah, I mean, I'd say the plans for both teams was to empty the benches, but certainly not your only 2 non-scrum half-backs within 42 minutes, so it really does make for a tricky last 35 minutes.
James Ryan to Ulton Deland to Gibson Park to McCluskey. And that's good work for Ireland to get up to the Japanese 10-metre line. And there's a bit more business about this and zip about this effort from Ireland. Caelan Doris, that won't find home, and it jumps into the arms of Fifita. And then Saito sees no one at home for Ireland, tries to go in behind. That one go in on the full. I think it has. rare mistake in execution from Japan, and it'll bring back play to where the kick was in line with, and the throw into the line-out will be for Ireland.
And again, it's I actually think Ireland tried to run this exact play earlier in the game. We did say in the first half, Ireland have a few times run these three-phase plays where the first phase has been perfect, the second's been perfect, and that third phase, something has just not been quite right. And that was another example there. Saito made the right decision, space was in behind, it was an inch too far.
Ronan Kelleher, James Ryan and Ireland set about correcting their line out. The maul has been something that's given them change in the 47 minutes to date. Gibson Park, Carberry, Burns, Daly, Keenan. Japan quite happy to let Ireland just shuffle it across their three-quarter line and wait for the moment. On that occasion, at the breakdown, it's illegal, so the penalty to Ireland.
Two's in the way. You're good. Two's out the way.
It was really, really well defended as well from Japan. It looked like Ireland had that pre-planned, something they've been working on all week. That pressure came on the outside, forced Keenan back inside. Okay, made a few yards, but it wasn't where he wanted to go. It wasn't where Ireland wanted him to go. And that's definitely a correct penalty. No clear rolling away there. No chance those Irish players could have entered the tackle zone fairly there.
Confirmation, as if you needed it, that Chris Farrell won't be back and that Ireland will play without him for the rest of this match.
Yeah, and the HIA protocols often get a hard time, but in fairness, you know, when a player lies stationary for a couple of seconds, that's decision made. He probably didn't even have an assessment when he went in.
Caelan Doris finds a little gap as Japan didn't come up quite as quickly as they have. Gibson Park sees another one, and Ireland all of a sudden find themselves 3 metres away, and Van der Fleer, between his own strength and those that came behind, the momentum too much. Josh Van der Fleer crashes over, and it's end-to-end, try after try. And what a way to welcome the crowd back to the Aviva Stadium.
It really is. One end, one team goes down, scores, then the next, and that is something that you know, Conor Murray and Ireland's had a hard time over the new British and Irish Lions captain, and that's one thing that Jamison Gibson Park does very, very well. You can see Ireland well set up, come out of that maul, great front football. Doris, great carry, and just that Japanese defence are flying around the corner. They're so keen. Gibson Park spots a little gap, and he nips through it, gets that forward momentum, and Van der Fleer just gets so low there, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, not the biggest man on the Irish side, but when he got into that position and got the legs pumping, Kelleher in behind him, another one or two as well, and there was only going to be one outcome. Josh Van der Fleer, over he goes. First time seen Japan defensively be a little bit passive off a straightforward line out or scrum. They allowed Ireland into that space between the Van der Fleer pass to Caelan Doris, and that momentum so strong. That's Jonathan Sexton behind the mask and the hat.
In disguise. And it looked at the Japanese defence, I still think it was a little bit soft. I know Van der Fleer's low, but it just seemed, you know, when you're watching that slow motion replay, and it took the cavalry to arrive to just drill him over the line.
Skies brighten over Dublin. Joey Carberry adds another 2, and it's a 2-point lead, as it was at half-time. Right now it's Ireland 26, Japan 24, but you feel this game is a long way from being done.
Yeah, and that last passage of play is such a good example of what happens when you get quick ball off that set piece and you get a gain line. There's a real panic in the Japanese forwards that get round the corner, the ball's going the same way. Wasn't one for Gibson Park, and just a great game still here.
Tamura with another one of those restarts. And O'Mahony, clearly they sorted it out in the changing room at half-time.
Use it now, please. Make sure we stay. Hold.
Gibson Park, after it goes Daly. Really good work, but equally matched defensively by Japan. And the advantage is for the knock forward from the Irish player, so we will come back. And the scrum will be to Ireland. And I'm not sure who that is. It may well be Is it
So it's
Fifita?
attack in the air
No, it's not.
by-
It's
Okay.
Matsushima.
Okay, we'll just wait there. So, Michael, it's going to be a penalty against you because it's actually attacking by this player. Team race in this way.
Referee calling that. Oh dear, oh
It'll be a
dear.
penalty to you when we restart.
Matsushima, you
Penalty
could
to
see.
you for tackling the air. To you guys. Just going to wait for him to be treated.
Oh
It'll be a
dear.
penalty for tackling the air.
And if he gets up, he's going to find out that he's been penalised for a tackle in the air. What a reward.
Thank you,
I'm
Brad.
afraid that looks really bad.
Looked bad, didn't it?
Joey,
Ankle or knee.
Joey Carberry doesn't look in good nick either. You can see that.
It'll be your penalty for tackling the air.
And that presents a problem for Ireland. If Carberry doesn't come through here, you've half an hour
It'll
left.
be over here, the penalty will be over there.
You've got a scrum half on the wing or several people out of
Penalty for
position.
tackling the air
Oh, it's
by the
great to
player
see
as well.
Matsushima at least get up, because I have to say that looked absolutely awful, and he's not comfortable. Couldn't possibly expect him to be, but you could see the angle his leg went with the power
Oh,
of
good, yeah,
the
from
fall
here,
of Daly on it. But
Okay,
even
what
that he's
numbers?
able to put any
For Japan,
weight on that leg
Chris.
is
Yeah,
remarkable
1,
off the back of
3
that
and 4.
replay.
1, 3 and 4. Thank you.
Lots of changes coming for Japan. Readied. 17, 18 and 19 going to come into the game. That's Miller,
But your kickers
Ivalu and Cornelson.
Be a penalty here for Ireland for tackling the air. Tackling the air. by this player.
And see the changes go through. Inagaki Ku,
You saw the replay.
Van der Waals and
Okay, let's wait for him to go off.
Matsuyama. Matsushima, I should say, not able to go on any further.
Just wait for him to go off and then you can put time.
And then in his place will come Shane Gates, I think.
I think you can hit us,
28-year-old
but
South African born,
just in case.
out half comes centre. He's going to make his debut.
And that's a real shame. Well, we don't like to see anyone go off injured, but for the neutrals, Matsushima, to see him leaving the pitch. But good to see him on his feet, because at one stage it looked like stretcher territory.
Oh, that looked like, that was one of those where you wonder, is that a season, and I mean an entire season out? Well, hopefully,
Okay, just step please.
he'll be okay.
And a penalty against him for his troubles.
Step out.
So then all change on both sides through injury and decisions of coaches. And Ireland go in search of another try, and again Japan off the set piece are not up quickly enough, and Ireland gain huge ground, and Delan has it in Gibson Park, and Van der Fleer around the corner for a second try maybe. He's held up short. Gibson Park has a little look to see what's on.
The advantage
Goes
offside.
for McCluskey, but Japan just
Offside.
about deal with him. Out wide, Stockdale! Wave after wave, inevitable in the end. Ireland over again. Japan simply ran out of numbers, but it came from a passive Japanese effort defensively off the set piece, and that's a couple of times they've given up big green space for Ireland to run into.
Yeah, Ireland have caused Japan problems at the back of the line. Look at this for a run from Keller, and this is why there's so much excitement about him. That was why he was in with the British and Irish Lions. Just so powerful. Question marks about his line out throwing, and another good carry from Van der Fleer. Looked like a couple of the Irish players changed direction. Gibson Park just thought, get the ball in Stockdale's hands. Too good, too hard to stop from there. And all in the space of about 5 or 10 minutes, starting to look like Ireland are in a very strong position now.
Joey Carberry, line of a conversion. Andy Farrell happier. Good kick from Carberry, really good kick from out wide. Gets the full return from the efforts of his side. 33 points to 24, and as you say, Darren, there is a little bit of daylight there for the first time into the game. For Japan will come Mafi, And it's Tatafu who will go. Mafi not in the original 23 names, but brought in at the last moment when there was a late change for Himeno to come out. Tatafu went from the subs bench to the starting 15 and into the game. Now is Mafi.
Thank you. Perfect, thank you.
Tamura.
17! 17! 17. No, but let go of him now. Let go of him. Stop!
Gibson
3.
Park
He's onside. He's onside from bottom. Both.
watched and dealt with really well by Masariwa. Oh, fantastic offload. And Japan look to come straight back. Mafi into the 22. Saito, no. Ireland there did enough.
You must be on your feet. Hold it.
Opportunity lost for
Get back to your
Japan.
feet to play the ball.
Big impact from the substitute. Big impact from that man on debut. Masariwa, he's been great in the air.
Just so well, doesn't he? Look at him get up underneath the players and away, and what an offload. Mafi straight into the game. You could see it looked like he got tackled and he tried to release the ball, stand up and pick it up again, but the referee maybe said he wasn't on his feet when he went back for seconds. Great take.
Great offload. Here's where the penalty came. Yeah. Good call, Darren. Kelleher and Ireland, through James Ryan, go to the well-established maul from the line out now. Gibson Park to the air. Billy Burns did a good chase job, so did Daly. Saito.
No, go backwards, go backwards.
And Japan go about building again. Gibson Park, he was lined up a long way away by Fifita, but he just evaded what would have been an enormous tackle. Finley Bealham stopped in his tracks.
Oh, now in front, stationary.
Burns.
Thank you, Darren.
And again, Masariwa, well, it's almost pointless kicking it down there. You know what's going to happen at this point. Saito.
2-9, stop!
Tamura, this one. Tess, Hugo Keenan, but plenty of time. Japan, a little bit fractured in their chasing line. Keenan takes advantage of a little gap. James Ryan.
Well, stop!
Carberry.
Thank you.
He's been rock solid sure on everything, is Masariwa, and then looks to turn defence into attack, and hasn't he done well? Now Japan have numbers and they have the execution, and that is absolutely magnificent. Saito the beneficiary, but Japan with any space are just magnificent to watch.
That's brilliant stuff, isn't it? How good is Masariwa been? Sorry, it's just the footwork. Again, the ball's down his throat, so positionally he's in the right place. Then it's the footwork and the offload again. It's a carbon copy on the same side of what we saw just a couple of minutes ago. Here it is. Ireland a bit of just getting into this pragmatic, a bit aimless kick there from Carberry. Trying to give the opposition the ball. Look at the footwork, look at the offload.
Where was the Irish defence? Didn't Japan? Well, they had 3-4 players, but all the right options were taken, and the execution was immaculate. And it was all, well, we've said it, he's had a huge impact on the game. Came from Masariwa and then the substitute Mafi. But the angles were terrific. The passing, perfection. And the finish, in the end, so easy for the scrum half on his second cap.
And big impact from Mafi as well. It's the second time we've seen him go up the sideline off the back of an offload. Lovely switch play. Fafita read it well. Maffey was going across the pitch, the space was up the middle, and Sato doing what every good scrum half does, which is track up the middle of the pitch, try and get that inside ball and pick up a score.
Well, we wondered if the daylight that Ireland had created might be enough. The answer is no.
And what was very telling about the last couple of minutes from Ireland, you could call it pragmatic, you could also call it's those aimless kicks. They now look like a team that all of a sudden there for a minute stopped playing, trying to get rid of the ball, and they've been punished.
Yeah, a team that almost felt the job was
Number
done,
1,
and
3, Ireland.
it most
1
definitely
3.
isn't. There's
1 and 3.
a full quarter of this game and a minute or two extra, and it's a long way from done. Changes in the front row from Ireland. Kilcoyne and Bealham will make way. Ed Byrne and John Ryan into the game. Gathered by Gates. Japan clearly not happy with something that happened at that breakdown. 3 or 4 players looking at the referee. I have to say I didn't see it, but they have the ball. Saito swing of the leg, and after it goes Gates, and he is there along with Maffey to make the tackle, but Ireland,
You're on your hands. You must be up.
again get the
You're on your hands,
advantage
you're off your
of the
feet, you must
decision
be
from
up.
the referee at the breakdown. It's a couple of times now Japan have been
Pass
pinged
the
in the
ball on his
last
hands.
5 or 6 minutes for an infringement at the breakdown.
And it looked like it could have gone the other way. The Japanese pressure
Sure.
was piling in, but I think the referee, Carl Dixon, maybe got that one right. He was certainly clear with his explanation.
And fight.
Said hands on the ground,
Goes
pass the
through.
ball, and there it is, not
There's
supporting
no
his
one there.
body weight. Clear as day.
Of course, no
Very, very strong decision.
Another change for Ireland is you look at the attacking statistics from the game so far. Pretty evenly matched, and they're pretty evenly matched on the scoreboard as well. Ireland by 2. Caelan Doris crashes into the 22. Ireland have made a change in the second row. A word on that in a moment. Here's Peter O'Mahony. Josh van der Fleer back inside it goes to John Ryan. Gibson Park, Caelan Doris, the man in the blue scrum cap, is the change into the game. Comes Ryan Baird. He replaces Ultan Delan. And Ireland get another penalty at the breakdown.
And again, I wondered, was it going to go the other way? We need to see a close view. But it is the thing at the minute. I mean, you feel like Japan have played better rugby. You feel like they maybe deserve to be in front. But it's the penalties. 10 penalties conceded to Ireland, 6. It makes such a big difference. It releases pressure for one team. It gains momentum for the other. And that's probably the thing that's kept Ireland in this game. Sorry, kept Ireland in front in this game.
Sure, and Ireland, of the 6 penalties they gave away, they had given away 3 penalties after about 6 minutes. So it's only 3 penalties since then. And Japan, as you say, 10 penalties. There, it's for not rolling away. And well, you can often look at those in slow motion and go, where was he supposed to go? But it's an interpretation of the referee, and once it's consistent, you feel that's okay. Here's Carberry. Interesting that Ireland, well, they could hardly decline 3 from this position. And they take the 3, and it's 36 points
Number
to
2.
31
Number 2.
on a very entertaining July afternoon at the Aviva Stadium. Change at hooker for Japan. Horikoshi will come in. Sakate will make way.
Go when you're ready.
Kosuke Horikoshi, 3rd international cap. Tamura. And Baird deals with it. O'Mahony. Miller makes the tackle on him.
Okay. Now use it, please. Let go on the floor. Connect you.
Rewa. It looked like he might have had a hand put on him in the air, I have to say.
6. Obstruction.
Yeah, and he's, you know, I think he's right. I think he's right. I think he was touched in the air, and Ireland have got the penalty.
Yep. Okay.
Let's see. Up he goes. Yeah, John Ryan. I mean, that's a clear-cut penalty for Japan, and they should feel hard done by there.
It looks like he's given a penalty against
so we're saying that we're turning it over
Japan.
straight away,
I think it's
straight after. For me, it's the original foul play, and I've blown my whistle. Okay.
Okay, go.
Oh, the original foul play.
Yeah, so I think it's a penalty for crossing. I think it's against Leach for changing his line and disrupting the Irish chase. But I mean, I certainly agree with you. It looked like a tackle in the air, particularly given the penalty against Matsushima as he went off.
Well, in fairness to the officiating party, and it's been picked up by Claire Hodden, she's drawn the referee's attention to it if he didn't see it, but he's saying there was an infringement before that, and that's why Ireland have got the penalty. There's no doubt that they've seen this, and it was in the air, but the infringement against Japan happened before it. Gibson Park.
Ball's here, it's your own man who's trapped him in. The ball is clearly available.
Billy Burns. Van der Fleer, good hands from Ireland,
Not
but
in the
also
tackle, just
a
in the
good
tackle
read
for
from
me.
Gates to get up and then get up again and make another tackle.
He's rolling, but it's a knock on here.
And we
Just
were
in the
talking
tackle, if there's
about them,
anything more.
should have been a penalty, shouldn't have been a penalty, but it adds to that
didn't
point.
get anything
You know,
clear.
they're now double the penalty count, and it's really Ireland have not created a lot in the last 10 or 15 minutes. They look very disrupted, if anything. But the only reason they're still got field position and possession is because of these Japanese penalties. And that'll be the message coming on for Japan. Stop giving
off,
away
please.
penalties, and let's see if Ireland can create anything.
Is he okay? Okay, he's okay. Nothing clear. Green ball.
Jamie Joseph looks on. He would be, well, if you set out your goals in a COVID interrupted season to come away from home and beat a tier 1 nation, I think it'd be top of his Christmas list, even if it is July.
Set. Oh, step.
I think he'll be pretty happy with what he's seen so far. A few less penalties, and they'll be in front here.
Gibson Park, that does not go to hand, and it was an intervention by Carberry that stopped Gates gathering with
Second
no one in
man.
front of him. McCluskey back inside to Ryan Baird, who is a phenomenal attacking machine, even though he's a second row. Gibson Park again. Burns held onto the ball and was right to do so as Japan came up out wide. Carberry now, Ireland, of course, with two playmakers on the pitch. Keenan.
What's right there?
Gibson Park and Kelleher and Burns and McCluskey. And Stockdale finds himself in the line, and then Daly and Van der Fleer. Wasn't the best pass from Shane Daly. He really flung it at Van der Fleer, who had to adjust, and that lost the momentum.
It's really good defence from the Japanese again. Looked like there was space down the edge. The ball was flung to Van der Fleer a wee bit. You will see it. I think it's Fafita who's had a big game with ball in hand. Yeah, great defence there. And Ireland have still not overly impressed with a lot of their attack. I do think the Japanese defence has been strong today. I know you'd say there's 36 points on the board.
136 tackles
Let's make
from
sure we hold.
the Japanese, only missing 11.
Yeah, so 10%'s that figure these teams will be working off. So one's over 10% and one's under 10%. It says a lot about it.
Comfortable ball for Japan. Saito goes to the air again. This time it's comfortably dealt with by Ireland through Shane Daly. Gibson Park, Kelleher. Burns trying to do to Japan what Tamura has done to Ireland, but not on that occasion. You have to say the impact of the two Japanese wingers in particular in general play, Masariwa, Fafita, it's been significant, hasn't it? And you think of the number of times we've talked about them and they've been involved in the game, and you compare that to Stockdale. You compare it to, well, Larmour had a bit of an impact daily, but the Japanese wingers have been so involved.
Yeah, and it's all about, when you have wingers of that quality, it's all about getting them in the game. And that can be your own doing through good play, it can be through poor kicking from the opposition and giving them the ball. We've probably seen a little bit of both today. Some Japanese good play to get the ball in those dangerous players' hands, and we just haven't seen as much of it from Ireland. And Ireland will want to stop the ball getting in their hands for these last sort of 10-15 minutes.
Change at halfback now for the Japanese, both Saito and Tamura, maybe a little surprisingly, have gone, and in their place come Shigeno and Matsuda. And Ireland get another penalty.
Straight in the side.
Japan will be disappointed with that off a first phase. Again, it's just that's just not how you win. You just don't win test matches playing like that, unfortunately. Off it's good, strong carry. Kelleher, and they're very strong, but where's the clean out?
Clearly so.
Labuschagne was there, his entry wasn't great. And Sissis from your own line out to hand Ireland an opportunity to win get another 3 points.
Finishing line in sight now. 68 minutes gone. 5-point lead becomes an 8-point lead. And Ireland have the advantage as we head towards the final 10 minutes to Japan with all their substitutions made. They've emptied the bench. Is there another sting in their tail? 39 points to 31.
The way they've played today, you wouldn't be surprised if they produced another try out of nothing.
Restart from Matsuda. Quite at the same height on it as those from Tamura.
Release.
You feel Ireland will want to just shut this one down, squeeze the life out of it,
now use
and
it. Make sure behind.
hold on to possession, go through some phases at the clock, take care of the game.
Open
Back
play on.
on the Irish side, but not controlled, and Van der Fleer did well to adjust and secure possession for Ireland.
Use it, please, now. Defensive time. Let's go. Stay stationary.
Again, slap back on the Irish side, and there for Van der Fleer, and that was a big hit that wasn't delivered technically as well as he would have liked by Masariwa. And his little gap left over on that side, Ireland tried to exploit it, into touch it goes.
And Ireland have been very, very strong in the air. Interesting how many times the players have not gone up with that traditional cradle catch to try and retrieve the ball. Seems to be just get up above them, knock it back. I suppose with the day Matsuriwa's had in the air, you don't blame anyone. It's not ideal tackle technique there.
Now, there were 2 substitutes left on the bench for Ireland, but they're now into the game as Ireland empty their bench as well. Peter O'Mahony's making way. Ronan Kelleher goes. There's O'Mahony. And in his place comes the new man, Gavin Coombs, 23 years of age, first international cap, Munster player, and he's had a huge season at club level, and due and just reward for that performance as he gets his first international cap. Rob Herring in. It's hooker for Ireland for Kelleher, the Ulster player, and in Japan just unravelling their accuracy in everything they've done. And over the last 10 minutes or so, a couple of penalties at the breakdown, that line out not straight, just giving that momentum back to Ireland.
And with Japan, you know, we spoke so much about undercooked, overcooked, all that, and it does just feel like this Japanese side is a side that played their first test match last week for a year and a half. That's what I'm seeing now. Just really, a lot of it's been sublime, a lot of it's been really good, a lot of it's been good enough, but some of the basics just haven't quite been good enough, and it could cost them the game.
Oh, I should say, there's still one replacement left. Of course, Jameson Gibson-Park is still there, which means Craig Casey hasn't come in.
Tackle's good.
Ryan Baird, the replacement second row, well, he's just simply phenomenal with the ball in hand, and he loves a run, and he loves a dummy, and he loves to create. Burns, good vision to bring Daly into the game. Back goes
Tackle,
Fifita
release.
to make the tackle. Japan go after it and have their
Using our
hands on it for
available.
just a moment.
Hold.
Gibson-Park to the air again. Oh, quite orthodox from Ireland as they see themselves into the final 8 minutes or so.
You lift it.
Through the hands once more. Zaliwa just about got the pass away.
Hands away now.
Shigeno, and that one doesn't go to hand, and the two wingers over on that far side. Of course, there's been adjustments with Matsushima gone. But the players wearing 14 and 11 just got themselves in a bit of a muddle. Ireland, of course, home again next weekend against the United States. But what about this guy, Ryan Baird? We've seen so much of him playing for Leinster. He's a phenomenal attacker as well as being a pretty impressive second row.
Yeah, he's one everyone's talking about in Ireland, one to look out for. See him playing in the green for a number of years, I think, and when he was covering that ground and you referenced him as a second row, I wasn't sure if it was a large winger with a scrum hat on, the speed of him. Japan there just wondering, are the slower Ireland's just starting to squeeze the life out of them a little bit, having to force it now. 8 points behind.
James, what numbers, just so I can tell them when we start? 6.
But as I said, for a team that have played such little rugby over the past year and a half, I've been impressed with Japan. I think for today, listen, they're still in this game to win it. I don't think today is solely about the win for Japan. It's about going around the world now, outside of the World Cup, and proving that you're a Tier 1 nation.
Just wait, hold him.
And to me, they look very, very comfortable today. All right, it looks like they may not get the result, but this is a team that are going to win a lot of games over the coming years.
Wait for the water to get off. Okay, time back on, please.
Rob Herring to the Irish lineouts. And whatever that was, I don't think it's what was called, but Ireland have got the ball through Van der Fleer.
No,
and
you push the
looks
ball
protected.
into him.
Gibson-Park.
Hold him front now, everyone hold. Stationary.
Ireland have adapted well to having both Burns and Carberry on the pitch. Herring.
Sorry.
There's a knock on there. We'll have a scrum to Japan.
And although that didn't quite go to plan in the end, that's for me, other than not give as many penalties away, that's probably one thing Ireland have done better than Japan today. The line out went wrong. They came in field, they steadied the ship, they came back to that short side and they put the ball in the air. Very, very pragmatic. It's not pretty, but they're 8 points in front. They don't need to do anything special. They just need to keep that pressure on Japan. Now, as it was a good chase, and unfortunately that ball came loose. Going to see a few rolls of the dice here from Japan, though, so hopefully this is good viewing.
Bind. Set.
Shigeno with the feed. At the back is Maffey. Scrum half takes it, and Japan are on their way in all sorts of angles and movement from the three-quarter line. Scrum half Shigeno has it again, and then through the hands of Nakamura. And Fifita. James Ryan makes the tackle. No real ground gain there for Japan. Caelan Doris hangs on. Shigeno again. Just probing, trying to see if maybe a tired body doesn't get up in that line from a defensive perspective. Is there a last chance to maybe take away Ireland's victory here? Japan trail by 8. They've got to get a converted try and then go again. defensively.
No, they're on the feet.
Ireland have put in a decent set.
Okay.
As you say, Darren just trying to squeeze the life out of this game.
Off feet!
Coombs, but the penalty goes Japan's way.
Go on your feet.
Quite unlucky there. One thing you can't accuse these officials for, they've been very, very clear with their communication. What he's saying Coombs wasn't supporting his body weight, and then he was driven back onto the ball.
And we said it earlier when one of the penalties looked to go against Japan. It's a similar situation there. And as you say, as a player, consistency in those decision-making process is exactly what you want. Josh van der Flier named as the player of the match. Darren, not your decision, but your thoughts on that?
I think I'm happy. It wasn't me choosing man of the match today. There's probably a couple of those Japanese backs for me could feel a bit unlucky. Matsuriwa in particular, big impact on the game. I know he looks like he's going to be on the losing side, but still.
Tamura, another. Japan, maybe not done just yet. As I say, that ball doesn't go to hand, and Gates has to readjust to secure possession. Shigeno, James Ryan, captain's role in the dying moments of this game to get there and stop Japan, cut them off at source. Coombs goes after the ball, he's blown out of the way, and possession there for the Japanese once more. But again, and it's been the story of the last 15 minutes. Mistake at the breakdown, penalty Ireland, momentum lost, territory lost.
Yeah, and I think that just sums up this last sort of 20 or 30 minutes. Japan, I just think, you know, the rust's now showing, and just running out of ideas ever so slightly. A little bit of fatigue set in. Haven't played at this level for a long time. Maybe when you're a bit more fatigued, you become a bit more sloppy, and maybe. Yeah, and just seeing there the work that Josh van der Flier's got through, it just shows you not always the guy that's running 50 metres down the wing to score the try, but gets through an absolute lot, and did take his try very, very well, in fairness to him.
Yeah, that was the van der Flier try. Rob Herring and Ireland will look to finish with a flourish. Caelan Doris claims it's an 8-point lead, and the Maul marches forward. Japan need to make sure they don't give away a cheap penalty again.
Okay, don't change though.
Gibson Park eventually to McCluskey.
Now release!
Baird steps back inside, almost gets away, sets Ireland up once more. Burns kick is there for Daly, who just about keeps it in, and a little bit of
knock on first.
Indecision on both sides. Not quite sure what the referee was going to call, and it's a scrum.
Okay, number 9, Ireland.
And that final substitution is now made, and Ireland have emptied the bench. As you look at the replay of that last maul, Craig Casey in at scrum half, Jameson Gibson Park makes way. That's Ryan Baird making his impact.
And Farrell had probably planned to give Casey a lot longer, but this is what happens, something you don't really think about in professional rugby. When your two backs come off the bench very, very early, it only leaves you with someone for cover, so you can't bring them on with 20-30 minutes to left in case there's an injury. So it's I'll be disappointing for Casey, but I'm sure he'll get some more minutes next week in the game against the USA.
As we've seen from the outset, Japan happy and likely to run it from anywhere.
Use it, please.
Sometimes it's the straightforward execution of the exit. Other times,
thank you,
if they feel like it's on, ball stays in hand and they try to work their way upfield from here. Great hands again. Somehow it finds its way to Masaliwa. James Ryan made a pretty late tackle there. Well, when I say pretty late,
5. It's okay.
you could see that it was late and rightly punished.
Yeah, that was very uncharacteristic and very, very soft, because they didn't. Japan, it was a long way from there, but Ireland haven't been punished.
Penalty doesn't find touch. And Ireland will see this one out. Hugo Keenan knows the clock is done. And into touch it goes. And Ireland take the victory in a game that really had some moments of magic from both sides. Japan came to play and played quite beautifully at times, but in the end just ran out of a bit of steam, and Ireland see it home probably more comfortably than we thought it might be at half-time. In the end, it's an 8-point victory. Ireland win it by 39 points to 31.